Hello, everyone. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday here at Lulu. This is a special day for a couple reasons. One is because it is the last Webinar Wednesday of 2023. I cannot believe that, but it is true. Another reason is that I am joined by my esteemed colleagues. You can see here in this Brady Bunch grid that we have going on. Paul, can you high five me? Yeah, we're working on it. All right, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. That's fine. And then the last reason is because I guess you guys could actually just high five. But then the last reason is this is an AMA. Okay, it doesn't look like you did it on camera, but I know that you are coordinated enough. So anyway, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. So again, as I said, this webinar today is very special because it's an AMA. So I'm just going to do a couple of housekeeping things. We have a couple slides prepared for you, and then I would like to hear from you. So thank you so much for joining us wherever you are hailing from. I hope you're having a fantastic day and a wonderful week. So you can see here that in the chat section, I see several of you have found it already. So hello to Tony and April, Robin, Paul and Lauren and Kat and Yawandi, Lolly, Paul again, just really doubling down. Thank you everybody for getting started and saying hello to us. So you found the chat. You can also see that there is a Q&A only tab. I would love if you could utilize that today so that when we open it up for questions, we can just grab your question from that section. So really what we wanted today was to hear from you, hear your thoughts on our webinar series. How has that gone? Is there content that we have not put out yet that you would like to see? We would love to hear from you and then answer any other questions that you might have. So you found the chat, find the Q&A tab. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and we will go ahead and get started. All right, so it's the end of the year. Hopefully, if you've been on this journey with us through the beginning of the year, you may know these things. It's just a refresher. But we are Lulu, so hopefully you're in the right place. Not the leggings for the women's apparel brand, just books. We just do books. So Lulu is a remarkable person, object, or idea. We've been around since 2002. Our platform is free to use, and we paid out over $117 million in author revenues. I don't think I've updated this slide since I made it at the beginning of the year. So that has only gone up. And our mission is that we are dedicated to making the world a better place, one book at a time, through sustainable practices, innovative print-on-demand products, and a commitment to excellent service. All right, couldn't finish out the last webinar of the year without saying this one more time. Lulu is a certified B Corp. So I'm very proud to say that we've been a B Corp for several years now. And as the holidays are upon us, if you are observing any gift-giving holidays, then B Corps are a great way to spend your money. So definitely check that out if you're not familiar. All right, so who are we? I am Chelsea, and I am Lulu's Education and Community Manager. I host our webinars and also the content that we put on our YouTube channel. So if you're interested in any of that, then definitely check it out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. In the coming year, you will see a lot of new content, a lot of new organization on our channel to make it easy to find, so you'll know exactly where to get started. And we will also be continuing our amazing webinar series. So sign up for our emails and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already to stay in the loop.
Is it my turn?
It can be.
All right, I'm going to jump in and keep that ball rolling. Thanks for having me today, Chelsea. My name is Paul. I am the Senior Content Manager at Lulu. That usually means that, you know, if you get one of these webinar emails and there's a typo in there, that's my fault. On top of hiding typos periodically in our content, I also manage our blog. So the blog posts that you see weekly, give or take, are usually written by me, if not someone else in this room or someone else at the company. And then I do the editing and maintaining of those. I'm going to drop my blog URL in here since Chelsea said I could do some free advertising. So yeah, I mean, if you enjoy these webinars and Chelsea's Lulu U content, and you want someone, you know, more long form, if you really need something that puts you to sleep while you're figuring out your publishing journey, head over to the blog and give it a read.
It's my turn. Okay. Hey guys, I'm Patty. I'm the social media manager here at Lulu. I work really closely with Paul and Lauren, and everything that you see on our social basically goes through me and the social team. So it's good to see you guys. Not really. I mean, I guess you can see it. But...
See.
It's good to be seen by you.
Yeah, it's good to be seen by you. I like that.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren. I'm the content and community manager here at Lulu, and I am newly one of the co-hosts of the Lulu podcast that we launched last month. It's called Publish and Prosper. If you haven't checked it out yet, we highly recommend that you do. I mean, I personally highly recommend that you do. I can't speak for the rest of my teammates. I'm also going to drop it in the chat here. We've got 6 episodes out so far, maybe more this year. It might not be until January. We're having some equipment malfunctions, so we're not sure if we're going to get that sorted out before the end of the year or not. But in the meantime, there are 6 episodes that you can listen to right now if you want to learn about publishing, e-commerce, and marketing, and hear me and Matt, the VP of marketing here at Lulu, talk about a lot of things that are unrelated to publishing. Because neither one of us is very good at sticking to a script.
Can confirm it's a great podcast, and sonically it sounds really good too. So there's some ASMR vibes there as well, if you're into that. So thanks everybody again. Thanks for joining us. Good to see all of you. Not the people in the audience, just the 3 of you. Okay. All right, so what does Lulu do? So again, before we kind of get into questions, I do just want to touch on some of the things that we do if you may not be familiar. So what do we do? And I'd also like to highlight this beautiful bulldog that's in this picture. This is Ruben the bulldog. His human is a Lulu author. Every year they make calendars for Ruben, and the money will go to Bullies for the Rescue or other I was going to say Pitbull Bulldog Rescue organizations. So if you are familiar, if you're a dog lover or have one in your life, Paul left, that's okay. Paul hates dogs. So anyway, if you are familiar or if you're a fan, then check that out. You can find it on our bookstore. All right. So if you are not familiar, we publish books at Lulu. We help you publish, print, and prosper. Our platform is free to use. It is completely free to create an account on Lulu. So if you did find us by chance and you are new to your publishing journey or to self-publishing in general, Lulu is very low risk, high reward. So you can create an account on Lulu for free, upload your projects for free, revise them, and then you only pay when you want to buy print copies of your books. So we have no upload or revision fees, as I mentioned, and we have a ton of free resources. So we're lucky today to be joined by a couple of the people who make some of this great content and these resources on our website. We drop some of the links in, so be sure to follow us on social, check out our blog, check out our podcast that is new and really wonderful as well. So be sure to check all that out if you are in a place where you are looking for some resources or just trying to get a better grasp on how to publish successfully. We also have over 3,000 possible format, color, and size variations. We introduced the novella size this year, so if that is something that is interesting to you, check it out. We do paperback, coil-bound hardcover, case wrap, and dust jacket, saddle stitch, and calendar wire O bindings. We have a built-in cover tool that we've been improving over the last year, and so that's really fantastic as well. So you can come and upload your interior file, create your own cover on our site, and get out the door pretty quickly with something really beautiful. If you do need some professional help, such as cover design, formatting, or editing, we have our Hire Our Pro page that can help you there. Our order import tool. So this is something that you may not be familiar with, but we launched this, I believe, last year, the end of last year. But essentially, if you are doing pre-sales or if you have a Kickstarter campaign and you have multiple orders, you can export those as a CSV file and upload them to Lulu and at one time. So it could be very handy around the holidays, or again, if you're doing pre-sales or any kind of Kickstarter. We also have a global print network, so we can get your books pretty much wherever your readers are. And we have multiple ways to sell. So we have our own bookstore, the lulu.com bookstore. You can sell your books through that. You can also use global distribution, which sells through Amazon, Ingram, and Barnes & Noble. And we have Lulu Direct, which we are always very excited about. Is there anything I missed there? Did I leave anything out that you guys want to add?
I think you hit everything.
I nailed it. Yeah, good job.
Yeah,
okay.
so.
All right, and so a little bit more about Lulu Direct. I mentioned that a second ago, but if you aren't familiar with what Lulu Direct is, direct sales has been a hot topic for a couple years now. We've definitely seen it pick up steam over the past 12 to 18 months. If you're not familiar with what that means or what Lulu Direct is, it's our e-commerce solution that will allow you to sell your books directly through your own website. If you do choose to do that, then you can automate the print fulfillment. Everything we do, regardless of how you sell your books through Lulu, is print on demand, so you never have to worry about inventory. You keep 100% of your revenue, which may or may not be appealing and important to you. You can also access funds within 24 to 48 hours. So with a lot of other retailers or third-party sites, it can take up to 60 days, months for you to get your funds and your revenue per sale. When you're selling direct, you can access that much faster, which can really help with marketing efforts or writing your next book. You can also retain customer data, so you can actually see who is buying your books, which again is hugely valuable to anyone who is running a small business or any kind of business. It's really nice to know who's buying your books and be able to connect with them. As I mentioned, you don't have to worry about inventory management since everything is automated. And you can also take advantage of white label shipping. So this is really neat and just means that as you ship out your books, your branding is on the packing slip. So when your readers receive it, you kind of look like the full branding experience is continuous throughout. So they don't have to know that Lulu is making the books. Your branding is front and center. All right, and the last thing I will talk about before we turn it over for questions is that you may or may not be familiar with an acquisition that we made this year. So we purchased the Tilt newsletter and the CEX event that goes along with it. So the Tilt newsletter is a really wonderful newsletter for content entrepreneurs and business people who are looking to grow their business and make money from their content. We can obviously help with that. So it was a really good partnership and made a lot of sense for us to work with them. So we also accrued or acquired this event, the Content Entrepreneur event. So if you're interested in this, I will drop a link in the chat if you would like to register. As you can see, this will be May 5th through the 7th of next year in Cleveland. I haven't been to Cleveland. Some of the people on the call have. They seem to love it.
Absolutely love Cleveland.
Yep.
If you need a reason to go to Cleveland, go to CEX, and if you need a reason to go to CEX, go to Cleveland. It's Cleveland.
There you go. Yes, I was surprised, but yeah, I heard great things. Cleveland is where it's at. So if you go to that link, you can get a ticket, register, meet some of us in person, learn more about growing your author business, building your brand, and making money off of your content. So definitely follow that link to learn more. All right, now I know this picture has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I'm completely aware of that. I just like it, and this is my last webinar of the year, so here's how it's going. All right, so let's answer some of your questions. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate that. I see that some of you have found the Q&A, and some of you are in the chat. But I will start. Let's see. I'm going to start with some questions that actually, Chocolate, I see that you're in the chat. Thank you for being here. I was sent these ahead of time, so we're going to go ahead and start with these. As you drop your questions in the chat, then we will hop over to grab those. All right, so Chocolate is starting us off, and her first question is, I'd like more information about Book Talk. So who can tell me on this call, Paul, I'm looking at you, about Book Talk?
Paul's definitely the go-to for Book Talk, I think.
I mean, I'm heard you use a cell phone to get on TikTok, and I have one of those, so I'm close.
Yeah.
I thought you still had your pager.
So Book Talk, I think it's interesting because Book Talk started obviously on TikTok. It's a community of readers, authors, book lovers, people who are really passionate in this community. But the reason why I think Book Talk is so interesting is because if you actually go to Instagram and search Book Talk, you could still see Book Talk on Instagram, which is strange. And it's still like a very active community, but it's just it's a community that helps people connect with other readers, other authors, other people who are passionate. You can find book reviews. Something tells me Lauren is on Book Talk, probably. Yeah, but it's a really interesting community where you can connect with people who have similar interests.
Yeah. I mean, I think that any social media platform, I mean, obviously these tools are great and can help you connect with your audience, but I think it also depends on where your audience is. So if you don't have, if your niche or genre isn't active on Book Talk, then it may or may not be valuable for you to spend your time there. So maybe some audience research can help you with that too. So thanks for that question. The next one that we have is, it seems Lulu offers discounts often. Is this an ongoing opportunity? And that answer is yes. So we do have discounts in the market, I believe, each week, Monday through Friday. Obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but if you look at our Facebook page or our Twitter, I think we have those posted every week. So if you're not on our email list, that's another great way to stay up to date. We email out our promos each week. But if you aren't getting them or you're not on that email list, you can follow us on social and never be out of the loop with our promos. All right, let's see. And the next question is, which social media offers the biggest response from its readers?
That's a really good question. And I think the short answer is there isn't one specifically. It definitely depends on your audience. And on our blog, we have some really good resources about social media 101. We have social media marketing. So those would be really helpful. But I think the best advice I could give someone is to pick two platforms, like pick one or two, and kind of test things out. Like put a metric out there. I want to see how many likes I'm getting in January, right? And then do an audit, see what's working, and then be able to pivot, because Facebook may not be where your audience is and Instagram is. So definitely don't be afraid to test things out is the best advice that I can give, because your community could be on Twitter. So definitely, like I said, check out our blog, and we can probably link those at some point.
Sure.
Yeah, we can send some links.
If you're not sure where to get started with that too, if you're not sure like how exactly do I figure out where my audience is, one great suggestion, I'm calling my own suggestion great here, is to find some comp titles, which you should be doing for your book anyway. If you have an existing book, if you're working on a book that's coming out in the future, you need to have titles that are already published that you can compare yours to.
Mm-hmm.
So find some of those that are in the same genre as the book that you're looking to market, and search for those authors and see where those authors are most active and where they get the most engagement. So, not necessarily like, oh, I want to write books like Emily Henry, and I see Emily Henry posting every single day on Instagram, but she only gets 5 likes on those posts. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but if you see like, oh, Emily Henry posts twice a month on TikTok and those TikToks get 1 million views each, TikTok is probably where you want to be.
Definitely. I think seeing where your similar author is, or someone that you want to be like or aspire to be like, is a really good start. So that's good advice, Lauren.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, and the next question here is, what is the value, or I'm sorry, how do you get free promotion? And the next question was, what are the value of interviews? So Chocolate, I'm going to kind of combine these two. So I think for free promotion, I think it kind of goes in line with what Lauren and Patty were just saying. So if you see authors that you aspire to be, where are they going? Are there blogs that have looked at their books that would be interested in looking at yours? Are there authors that are maybe similar in audience size as you that you could do a swap and get some coverage on their channel, and that you could do the same for them? So I think that works when you find those similar audiences and that overlap. Then you can kind of do a share with folks like that. I mean, the value of free promotion, I think it just depends on what the outlet is. And who you're able to reach through that. But anytime someone is willing to talk to you about your book or your platform, then I think that that's a good idea. And there are people who, have podcasts or blogs or YouTube channels who are always looking for content. So look for people to pitch yourself to, but always remember that it really make it easy for them. Help them help you. So do your research. Don't just send a bunch of cold pitches. I mean, speaking from experience, when people email us and say, will you sponsor me, or will you share this, or can we work together? If they don't have an understanding of who our audience is, then it's a pretty easy no for me, because obviously they haven't done the work to make sure that what they're offering is going to make sense to our audience. So I would recommend doing that and finding people who share an audience you want to get in front of, and then understanding exactly what their audience is coming to them for, so you can align yourself with that and make it an easy sell for whoever the interviewer might be. And then the second part, the value of interviews, potentially invaluable. And especially if you're doing something that is going to live forever or be online, then you can continue sharing that, and that can keep gaining traction as you continue to grow your audience. So I would think if there's ever an opportunity for you to speak to someone or who is interested in talking to you about your book, as long as it's not a toxic or could be a negative representation of your brand or your content, then I would say go for it. is any other thoughts on that?
No, definitely agree with that. Mm-hmm.
Cool. If you don't agree, I can kick you all out. So. Okay, all right. And then the last question here before we hop into the chat is, as an unknown author, what are the value of book signings at brick and mortar versus other venues?
Yeah, I can answer that question actually, because it used to be my job to tell people, no, you can't have a book signing at the bookstore that I work at. So I am perhaps uniquely qualified to answer this question. And the answer is that there isn't a whole lot of value in having a signing at a brick and mortar bookstore, especially as a virtually unknown author. The value add to that really is going to be, it's a celebration of your book, basically. So if you want the experience of having a book signing at your local bookstore, if you have an event somewhere that you have a lot of friends and family that would love to come and purchase copies of your book from you and get them signed, and you have a big launch party, that's a lot of fun. I've seen people have a lot of fun with an event like that. It's a great way to kind of like kick off your book, celebrate it, celebrate you. You deserve to be celebrated if you publish a book, because it's really hard to do. But I worked at a bookstore for 5 years that was in like a downtown area that had a lot of foot traffic. We had a lot of book signings. This was on Long Island in New York. So like a lot of big authors, like a lot of big name authors would come because they were visiting their publishers in the city, and they would come out to our store. We were a very well-known store. It's not there anymore, RIP. But
I was about to ask you which one it was.
It doesn't exist anymore. It fell apart during COVID. Yeah, but it was there for 40 years. It was a great bookstore. Even those big name people didn't come off the street to come attend your, like there was no foot traffic. There were no people being like, oh, there's an author signing here today. I'm going to buy a copy of their book and have them sign it, and I'm going to get a fun new book out of this experience. Like there really is no discoverability involved in that. So it has no value add there. And also you're probably not making any money off of it, because you usually have to supply your own books. Most bookstores will not purchase print-on-demand books unless they're returnable, which they rarely are. So they won't be purchasing them, so you'll have to supply them, and then the bookstore will get a cut of the book sales. So you won't, at the very most, you'll probably break even on them. So if you're looking for an excuse to have a party, totally do it. If you're looking for it as an avenue to make money or get your name out there, probably not your best bet, and probably not worth the time and money that you're going to put into it. Sorry, that's really disappointing to hear, I know.
No, I love the optimism that you brought to the table there. Thank you, Lauren.
That's my job.
I think for more positive tips, check out the podcast. I think that the book launch or the book signing is so quintessential, but yeah, I mean, I think it depends on how you think of it. Because like Lauren said, you should celebrate yourself. You should have that moment of like, I'm doing this, here I am. And hopefully there's a local bookstore or any bookstore that you've been a champion of and that you've been a good patron of. And so it's a good way to kind of thank them, hopefully bring some traffic into the store. But yeah, if this is your kind of like get into the black last ditch effort to make some sales, probably not going to be there, but it could be some great photo ops for the gram or the talk. So yeah.
I've also seen people do signed book giveaways like online, like on social media. So if that's something like that's really personal to you and that you want to do, I mean, like Lauren said, probably not like in a bookstore, but there's still a way to get your book out there with your signature to someone that really wants it. And again, social media here, that's an idea that you could do in December or January.
Perfect. All right, I'm heading to the Q&A tab. If you did drop your question in the chat and we missed it or skipped over it, go ahead and just drop it in the Q&A and we will grab it. Hey, Revere, I think I pronounced your name Reverie one time and you corrected me, so feel free to correct me again if I'm saying it wrong. All right, question for the Q&A. I published a book with an ISBN I bought myself. To republish it with Lulu, would I have to buy a new ISBN? I believe the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
Does anyone else think that's wrong? Okay. All right.
So
Yes.
the publisher imprint gets tied into the ISBN when you assign it that first time. and so there's an imprint attached to it. And because we have to register that on our end too, it gets tricky to recycle an old ISBN. I know there are situations where publishers can release ISBNs, but usually in the self-publishing and DIY world, all the companies try to avoid that because it's just messy.
Yeah, but I will note here that with Lulu, you can use a free ISBN from us, or if you have others that you bought, I know Bowker will sometimes sell them in batches, if that's the right term, then you can use another one that you own. And then, of course, that metadata will have your publishing imprint listed. If you take a free one from Lulu, then it will have Lulu as the publisher in the metadata. That may or may not matter to you, but just something to keep in mind there. And thank you for that question. All right, Robin is asking, I ordered 20 of the novel-sized books I wrote. Unfortunately, FedEx delivered them the wrong address. Fortunately, Lulu helped me out and resent them. I did get a second order. Appreciative of this. More recently, I did get another order that delivered by the post office. I always get my orders when they are shipped via post office, but sometimes not with other carriers. Can we make a preference of how we get our book shipped from, or where we get our book shipped from? So, well, first of all, Robin, thanks for sharing that. I'm glad that we were able to resend that, and I hope everything is good now. I would say when you are looking at your shipping options, you can see where there is mail or ground. I think it says FedEx. Do you guys know, will it say FedEx overnight? Because I know that like mail, ground, and then FedEx are our main options in the US at least.
It'll say if it's trackable, but I don't know if we specify whether or not it's coming mail or FedEx versus ground ones. I believe it almost always should come FedEx if it's ground or higher.
Okay. So yeah, just keep in mind, when you go to pick your your shipping method, it will say if it's trackable or not. And then, so definitely choose one of those. And then after you get to like the 2-day shipping or overnight, those options are going to be like FedEx most likely. So you have a little bit of control there. And I hope that answered your question. And thanks for dropping that in there.
Chelsea, there's another thing Robin can potentially try if this is specifically FedEx is having a hard time getting the order there and the USPS is not. You can actually reach right out to FedEx and give them a delivery instructions. If it's a recurring delivery address, you can say, hey, you got to take a left at the oak tree and you got to put it 3 steps over from the gate and whatever, but you know what I mean? You can get pretty specific with them, especially if you are a repeat customer.
That seemed like a very real world example from someone who grew up in Vermont. Okay. All right. So thanks for that. If you have any other questions, let us know. All right. Question from April. Can I sell my book through you at the same time with Amazon? So yes, you can see us nodding our heads here. I always like to tell people, think about Lulu as maybe a companion along your journey. I've never said that before. I've never told people that. What I usually tell people is you don't have to pick either or. It doesn't have to be Lulu or Amazon or Lulu or Ingram or whomever you want to use. What I'm trying to say is that we can kind of come along on the journey and help you wherever you are. So if you are selling on Amazon, you can also use Lulu, and vice versa. If you are selling on Lulu, you can sell through Amazon with what we call global distribution. It's important to note there that not all of our trim sizes and formats can be created by Amazon. Coil bound is a good example of that. So if you do have a book that you would like to sell through global distribution or list through Amazon as well, just be sure to choose format types that are denoted by a green globe and a little green book. That icon will mean that it is global distribution eligible, and you will be able to sell through those channels as well. Okay, let's see. We've got another one that is sort of long. So let me see here what we can do. This is from Paul. I thought this was definitely Paul Hobday that put this in here because it starts with, I love your platform. I'm like, calm down, Paul. Okay. All right. It would be useful to have the ability to control the countries where the books are distributed. Yes. So I understand that. And what I would say, if you need something, or you're trying to have a tighter control on where your books are sold or distributed, one way that you could do that is by putting your book in direct access, or I'm sorry, is it select access that okay, yeah. So when you sell through the Lulu.com bookstore, you can sell through general access, which just means anyone who is on our bookstore can search for your book. You can sell through select access, which means that only people with that URL can find the book. And also we have private access, which means only you as the account holder can access the book. So if you are trying to restrict who can find it or where it can be found, you can put it in select access and then only share that link with the folks who need to find that book. I'm not sure if y'all have any other solutions for that.
No, that would be the way I would go about it too. Unfortunately, like our distribution isn't set up to work the same way that Amazon's is, and we don't get into those granular kind of details like that. That would be, I can't even imagine the amount of development work and coding that would be required to make that work with the way that Amazon and Ingram have their international systems already set up. So if you want it automated, you want to be using someone that specializes in that. Whereas if you want to do it kind of DIY and have control over those things, the one Chelsea's method is the best. Just have a regional specific version of every book.
Yeah, and I'm seeing kind of in your question, you're saying that it maybe you have different versions for different countries or locations. So we've seen people create, we have a lot of educators who use our site. And so maybe they'll have, their textbook and have EN or UK or whatever country code you want to use or region. And then again, as we were saying, then have that in select access, share that specific link only with that group of students. Or if you wanted to sell them on your own site, just have those different product sets and then have it denoted by the country that it is suited for. And then hopefully that would help get the right book to the right people.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for that question, Paul. All right, Christopher is asking, outside of the chat site, will Lulu offer any one-on-one guidance in terms of finding a cost-efficient balance between using Lulu software to format and what are the best values on the Hire a Pro link? So I will say, as far as Lulu helping or giving guidance on formatting, that's really where our free resources come in. We do have a lot of YouTube content, videos, and webinars as well. I know Paul's done some great blogs on formatting. And, everyone on our Hire a Pro page has been vetted. These are all people at this point that we've worked with for a couple of years now that we know will treat our customers well. We kind of regularly vet these folks and make sure that they're still holding up to what we think they should be doing in terms of standards and quality. So I would say anyone on that page is going to be a good resource for you, but you can always just kind of reach out, call, email through their site and say, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Some are nonfiction focused, some are fiction, some are poetry. So take a minute and kind of look and see what we have out there. But these are all folks that we stand behind and we trust the work that they do. So I think that anyone that you end up with on that page will be a great option for you. Okay. Oh, and actually, do we know if we still do our CX?
I think so. I'm pretty sure we are. Yes.
Yep, I think so
the
too.
Publishing. Do we know the name?
Publishing assistant.
Publishing assistant. Yes. Let me see if I can find this on our site. So we also, back to your question about the one-on-one guidance, we did have what we call our publishing assistant. And this is something that our customer support team was offering. And basically you could book an hour with them, I think maybe an hour or a half hour, and then they will just kind of work with you on your project. And I think you can kind of continue from there. If that is something that you are interested in, you can email me. I'll drop my email in the chat here, and we can connect you with the right folks to learn more about that. Okay. All right. I just dropped my email in the main chat. Oh, nice, Paul. All right. Well, Paul just linked it there, so you don't have to email me at all if you don't want to. Okay. Thank you for that, and thank you for that question. Okay, let's see. Stefano is saying, my books in English perform pretty well with Lulu. However, those in Italian have distribution issues. Do you plan to expand your European distribution network? Also, one of my books has been pirated. I found the original PDF online for free on a piracy website. Any suggestions about file security and protection against piracy? Well, I'm sorry to hear that about your project. I'll start with the first question. As far as expanding our European distribution network, everything is on the table. I mean, we're certainly looking to help our we're a global company. So we have an audience that is worldwide, and we're always trying to figure out how to better serve those markets and help those folks. So if there are specifics that you're looking for, you can always, comment on social media or on our YouTube channels and let us know so we can continue to look into that. So the short answer is we're open to that. Anything that will help our customers be more successful, we are interested in looking into. And for the second part about the piracy, Unfortunately, it's very easy to do that. You know, we hate to hear when that happens to folks, but I'm not really sure the best way to work around that. If you have an email list, if you have a social media following that you can communicate to and say, hey, I know this is going on out here. If you want to support me, be sure that you buy it from, you know, wherever you're selling the book in a legitimate way. Purchase the book from here so that people know where to go to support you. But, you know, the other way that I've heard it looked at and what some people will say was even if it's being pirated, it's still being seen. So people are still seeing the content and they're still able to enjoy it and learn about you. And hopefully your name is on it and, you know, it wasn't just stolen and somebody else's name was put on it. But I think in situations like this, and I mean, obviously you guys are welcome to chime in. I think the best thing, your best tools are your email list if you've built one. And if you haven't, now's a great time to start, or your social media channels and just say, hey, I found this, I came across it. If you do want to support me, then here is where you can pay for this work.
Yeah, the really disappointing answer there is that this is an industry-wide problem and has been for as long as publishing has existed. It predates the internet. People used to find ways to copy and illegally distribute printed material long before it was ever online. It's something that's never going to go away. And it's an ongoing debate constantly on different social media platforms about whether or not it's wrong to pirate books, whether or not it's like books should be free resources that are available to people, nonfiction, fiction. What's the difference between using a library and pirating a PDF from some website? Your best course of action is to try to report it, but even then, it's probably going to get ignored.
Yeah, I mean, if you've published an ebook, your book's been pirated. It's just happened. Like someone's gotten their hands on it and they've tried to sell it illegally through some, barely recognizable third-party site that no one's ever heard of. And as both these ladies just said, like, just rest assured with the fact that if you have an audience, they're going to buy from you. Like, nobody wants to go buy from these weird sites, and there's very little sales happening on these sites. Like, it's not really worth your trouble to try and figure out a solution to stop it from happening, and it's better to just kind of move on and keep doing your business.
Yeah.
Sadly.
I agree. And I think to what Chelsea said, I think if you have a website or you have a social media, make sure to link out to like your official shop or your official page where people can buy a book. That way, if they want to buy it, they know exactly where they're going to purchase and support you.
Yeah, I know. I wish we had a more uplifting answer, but the long and short of it is, unfortunately, these things will happen. And like I said, I mean, the silver lining or maybe the bright spot is that your work is still getting out there, just maybe not in the most lucrative way possible. All right. Thank you for that question. All right. Next question is a hardcover ideal for a nonfiction book? If so, what size in inches would you recommend would look best? All right. I'll give my answer, then I'll let you guys hop in. So I would say, a hardcover is a great option for a nonfiction book. We see a lot of that. Obviously, most textbooks and things like that are hardcover. It makes a beautiful presentation as well. So it just kind of depends on your audience. But I think that, another way to look at it would be a hardcover book is oftentimes a higher price point. So again, I would recommend looking at your audience. What are they comfortable in spending? Look at books that are in your genre. What do they look like? Similar books, are they hardcover? What is that trim size? What is that price point? And then see if that makes sense for your audience. And if you feel like that might be a little high, then you can always make a paperback version as well that may be a bit more affordable for your audience. And I will go ahead and drop in the Lulu products page so you can see all of our trim sizes here.
Yeah, and I'll jump in while she's grabbing that and say that this is one of those questions that we all field often. It's hard to say, hey, we work in self-publishing and have someone not be like, oh, what's the right size for my book? And the answer is pretty much always going to be a lot more questions because there is no right size. There is no ideal design unless you get very, very specific. It's not just a nonfiction book. It's a, nonfiction book about the invention of airplanes and the advancements in airplanes in World War II. And it's got these pictures. Okay, so it needs to be bigger and it needs to be full color. Like, there are just too many questions to ask to have like a general right size, right format, right binding type for anything. It's always going to be based on market research and your content. So it's what's going to represent your content best and trying to match that up with whatever other people are reading books in that same style of genre, so that it looks like it fits in that world.
Yeah, just to reiterate what both of them have said already, like go find 3 to 5 books that are comparable to the book that you're working on and check out all the formats that they're in, check out the interior formatting on it, check out the binding type, look at the price, look at the list price on the book, because that's also going to vary based on whether it's nonfiction, fiction, paperback, hardcover, and there is kind of like an industry standard for all of those depending on the genre and format of the book. So that's really like your best way. There is no like one ideal. So your best bet is to just go find other books like yours and see what they've done.
Awesome. Thank you for that question. All right, next question is, I am working on a book that is comprised primarily of transcribed newspaper articles, mostly from the 1920s. I have a basic understanding of copyright, but do you have any resources that you can share? I think I saw this in one of our chats. I think we have some copyright information, but I also, gosh, I was going to say, I mean, I think any newspaper articles, are public domain, and so it's okay to use those. But even as I'm saying this, I'm wondering why I would even give this advice. Because
I kind of went down a rabbit hole when I first saw this pop up a few minutes ago, and I've been Googling a little bit, and it seems to mostly agree with Chelsea that being more than 70 years old, you're probably out of copyright. The right thing to do would be as often as possible reference the original publisher. So if it's a local newspaper that still exists, like just go say, hey, I'm writing a book about this, that, and the other thing, and I want to make sure I get the most high quality clips of the articles I need to use, and then source it. So even if you can't get permission from the newspaper, source it. Say this is from an article on April 7th in 1921, published in New York Times or whatever. And as long as you've done a good job of sourcing it, you should be okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, Paul. All right. And so the next question, comment, Paul is saying I should check out selling books on my own site too. And you should. And so I'm going to I'll drop this in the Q&A as well as the chat here. So I did talk a little bit about Lulu Direct. Thank you, Lauren. So the copyright blog we dropped in there. The link that I posted is to our Sell on Your Site page. If you are interested in selling, maybe this year, there's still time, but maybe next year is the year that you want to do direct sales. If you follow that link, we have a form on that page that you can fill out to get in touch with our e-commerce team. We have great people who can help you integrate your website, answer any questions that you have. But of course, as we've said several times on this presentation, we also have a lot of resources about direct sales, how we do it, what it means, how you can utilize it. We have blog articles on that. If not already, I'm sure Lauren will be doing a podcast on it. Patty has posted a ton of stuff about it as well. So go and check that out. And if you are interested in learning more or connecting with our integrations team, then that link, lulu.com/sell/on-your-site. Click it and you can fill out that form and get in touch and get all set up. All right. Okay. So I think this may be one of the last questions I was seeing in the Q&A. So we were actually not too far off from the end of the hour. I feel like this went by pretty fast. But so if you do have any questions, I'll do one more call for questions. Anything you have for us while we are here. All right. And Jim is asking, it seems as if it is taking much longer than usual for books approved for global distribution to show up on Amazon. Are you aware of changes in the Lulu process or the Amazon process that might account for this? The short answer is yes. So Amazon has recently really cracked down on their content guidelines. As far as I know, it was specifically kind of low and no content projects and things like that. They've been having some issues or not really letting people put that content on their site. I think that might have had to do with it. Some other things that were more nefarious than that could have also led to them being a little bit more strict in the content, their review process, and the things they upload. So that definitely has affected some of those times of making your book live. I will also say that ever since I've been at Lulu, which is about 6 years now, it's always been about 4 to 6 weeks for your books to be on Amazon or listed through global distribution. So my understanding is that when Amazon accepts projects from us, they kind of do it in batches. So unfortunately, we don't have that direct line to Jeff Bezos to call him whenever we have a new book we want him to put up. So they will just periodically, accept these books and put them on their site. And sometimes it's just luck of the draw where you submit your book and then maybe the next day is when they pull this data and then start to post it. I've seen that happen to people to where it's much faster, but I think it is a safe bet to say 4 to 6 weeks, unfortunately, sometimes 8 weeks. But yes, to your point, there has been a change on their end, which is definitely had some repercussions for us as we try to put content through as well. I know that we're always working on trying to make that faster, but when you're working with Amazon, it's kind of, we're sort of at their mercy from time to time. So that would be my answer there. Anyone else?
I mean, yeah.
I was hoping someone else would jump in and be like, no, it's fixed.
So it is, and it's, I will say from our perspective, when they started rolling out some of these stricter guidelines through Amazon and they're starting to crack down, one of the big things they were looking at was AI too, and making sure that kind of thing was under control.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to build some processes on our end to streamline that for users. So there definitely was going to be some periods where you might have saw a little bit longer than usual delay. My understanding is we should be past all of that now, and it should actually be working about as it used to be.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's right. The AI thing actually was, I think, what led to the crackdowns and nefarious AI. Okay. All right. So yes,
we were having an intense debate about Lola's question.
Oh, yeah. So, for the several addresses. So yeah, Lola, thank you for dropping this in the Q&A. Can Lulu make a site so you can have multiple delivery addresses? Also, I publish for several people and always have to give my publishing business a different name because it says it's already used. So for the second part of that, Lola, if you want to reach out to me, I dropped my email in the chat and I can look into that for you. I don't know. I'm not really sure that's on the account level. Our team can look into that. For the multiple delivery addresses, the hot debate that's going on, I'm guessing, is this a good case for the multi-order upload tool? Is that what we're saying? So if your question, and feel free to clarify, if your question is there a way for you to place an order that will ship to multiple addresses? We can do that. That is with our order import tool. Again, if you reach out to me, I can give you some more information on how to access that. I think it's in your dashboard. Email me if you have questions. But basically, you can get a CSV file that will have all of the names of the people and all of their addresses and the product ID or the SKU maybe, and then you upload that. We take that in as basically one order, but it'll be shipped to all those different locations. Do you guys think I explained that well? Did that get?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It.
And if not, Patty just linked to the blog post about it that has, I think it had like a pretty in-depth breakdown in there, if I remember that correctly.
I hope it did.
It's been a year.
Comment on the blog post if
It's been a year since I've written it, so yeah, leave a comment if there's anything missing. I'll fix it.
I see, Lola. So you mean leave an address in my account. So no, I'll share this with our customer service team. I know that previously, before we relaunched in 2020, there was a way to have like an address book. I don't think, and obviously correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think there's a way to store addresses in the account right now.
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay, but thank you for that feedback. I mean, this is, one of the things we were hoping to do with this is find out what's important to you and what will make publishing with Lulu easier. So yeah, let us know if there's more feature requests like that, and we always like to share that with our team. All right, let's see. And will this webinar be available for streaming later? I think we can send a link to it. I don't think we're going to put it. It's on our YouTube channel right now, streaming, but I think that we may just send out the recording. Oh my gosh. And actually, I see that we have some questions on our YouTube channel too. So, all right, let me pull those up as well. Hello, everyone joining us on YouTube. We appreciate that. Okay, and this says, when you choose to distribute everywhere through Lulu, is it Lulu that creates the author page, or do I have to set it up first? So again, for Lulu, that's going to be, if you're selling through the Lulu bookstore, you have your author spotlight, you will create that. And if it's selling through Amazon, I think that you create your own author page through Amazon. Does that sound right to y'all?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. All right, awesome. And then when I did the quote page, it came up significantly higher cost for a 7x10 versus 6x9. Is this accurate? So I would say my favorite tool on Lulu is our book pricing calculator. This is where you're going to get the most accurate pricing for anything that you can make on Lulu. I'll drop this in our chat. I'm also going to drop it in the live stream as well. There will be a higher cost depending on the trim size. If the trim size is bigger, that will obviously cost more. If your page count is more, that will have a higher cost as well. Color versus black and white. But I also would say if you are, trying to find the best price for your book or how to kind of get that down, we do offer bulk discounts. We also offer discounts in market every week. So if you aren't following us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And Patty, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Facebook and Twitter, we always post our weekly promos. And you can also sign up for our email list to get those as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. All right, and let's see. So Chocolate is asking, what are some up and coming changes and new offerings in 2024? Good question. So one of the things that we are rolling out, we just launched it, but our podcast, we're obviously super excited about that. We will continue creating great content on all of our channels. One of the things that we'll be focusing on really heavily, as we have been in the past year or so, is direct sales. So just helping people make money from their content, helping you as an author connect directly with your audience so that you can get that data, you can earn more per sale, and you can have more control over the process. We're also exploring variants with direct sales, so it'll be easier for you to have different versions of your book that you can sell through your own website. Audiobooks are also on our radar, of course, so looking into that. And if we can offer that or how we can support our authors that are looking to do that. CEX, so kind of starting our own, or not starting, but having our own event next year. So we are really looking forward to reaching a content creator audience and helping those folks with publishing and how they can do that successfully. What am I missing? What do you guys have to add to that, if anything?
Man, I think that sounds like so much.
I know.
I need a nap now.
No, I mean, I think those are the big things. There's kind of always this open door to our platform to be updating and improving and adding things much more quickly than we used to historically. So who knows what we'll have changed our minds and decide we want to do by the end of next year.
Yeah. And I think just realistically, spending a lot more time connecting on a closer level with a lot of our creators and authors. Like, I know we're going to a lot of events next year in addition to hosting CEX for the first time ever. We're all going to be, all four of us as channel managers are going to be making more educational content and creating more opportunities for us to have like conversations like this one, which is so much fun to be able to connect directly with a small group of people that are asking us questions about Lulu, and we get to participate and interact with everybody instead of just like talking into a microphone like I do. With nobody responding back to me except Matt. So I think that's going to be a lot of our focus next year, and I'm really excited for some of the opportunities that those efforts will bring.
Yeah, I think community, like Lauren was saying, that's definitely a huge part of our plans going forward. And like she said, figuring out ways to connect with our audience, have more conversations, get that feedback, and really build a community of our authors, which we know is out there. So how can we nurture and support all of you? And I think, again, a little plug for our social channels. So I've got some listed here on the slide. But whatever your favorite way to take in content, follow us there. So our blog is great. Paul updates it. How many times do you blog? All the time.
All the time.
I'm blogging right now, actually.
At all times.
He's a blogging fool. Yeah, I know. I was going to say your keyboard is deafening every time you type. But yeah, so follow our blog. Paul does great reviews of different softwares that are helpful, as well as just different best practices and all kinds of things like that. Our social media channel is obviously great. Patty and Naveen do a wonderful job of posting great content there that is hopefully very useful to you as an author or content creator. Lauren rolling out this dope podcast, so definitely check that out. And then our webinar and YouTube series will help support you in that as well. So please follow along with all of those. We will be sending out just a little recap of the year of webinars. So again, if there's anything you missed, you'll be able to check those out on our YouTube channel. So yeah, stay in touch, stay in tune. We have a lot of things coming for 2024, and we're very excited about it. I will do one last call for questions as we are at the end of the hour. Panelists, is there anything else that you want to add?
I just want to say, if the social team, please, like Chelsea said, follow us on social. And don't be afraid to send us a message. Like, someone is there, we'll hear you. And if we can't give you an answer, we're going to help you get to where you need to go, whether it's support or linking out to a blog. We're there to help. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Yeah, we are here to help, and we're pretty friendly, I think. So don't be afraid to comment and engage on, our content and our posts. We are the ones that are looking at that, so it doesn't go off to like a faceless server AI bot somewhere to respond to those. I handpick those emojis to respond to your comments. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for spending some time with us, for asking your questions, and for listening to us today. I hope you all have a wonderful Webinar Wednesday. We'll sign off for the last time this year. Keep an eye on our social channels, on our emails to see when the next one will be. Paul, Lauren, Patty, thank you guys so much for spending some time with me today and braving these questions just off the cuff. I appreciate all of that. Thank you, everybody, for hopping in, for being a part of it. Have a wonderful holiday season, and we will see y'all next year. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.